My apologies. It's been unseasonably warm here in LA, and allergies are starting to act up, and got dry mouth in abundance. So my lips have been smacking, and I don't have any green apples to counteract that with. So I've been trying to edit them all out, but my apologies if you're getting those little weird clicky, poppy, smacky noises as we're going through these. Anyway, so we were on leveler blinds. So I'm going to take the ones that are in here. You can see I've got them grouped together. And in this case, I think, okay, so the way that these were created, again, is just another box. So we're going to take a cube, drag it over here. And then there's some shortcut keys you should learn here. E, R, and T. E for move, R for rotation, T for transform or scale. It'll make your life a little easier. So I'm going to scale this way down. You can see how flat it's getting. And then stretch it out. And I'm going to see how it fits in my window. First, I got to find my window. Okay, so once we've got it pretty well fit in the window, I'm going to click out of this, make sure it's actually, I'm going to change this one to perspective, default camera, so I can get a look at my geometry here. I'm going to take my fog box and hide it. So fog, hide, and now I can see what I'm doing. Great. Okay, I'm going to move this down to the bottom of the windowsill, right there at the bottom. And then, again, it's just like we create everything else. We're just going to command drag or control drag on a PC to create a duplicate. And then I want to zoom in and get a look at this guy, because I want the spacing to be kind of even on all of them. And then I'm just going to select them both by shift selecting. And you can also do that up here. So cube 20 and 21, I can just select, shift select, and then command drag. And then I can shift select and command drag. So you can see the more that I get, the easier it becomes. And these aren't perfect, but that's okay. We're not, we don't care if it's perfect. Leveler blinds are always kind of screwed up anyway, aren't they? They're all bent and broken. It's good. Broken is good. There. I've got my final bit, and then I'll probably delete some of those. Or I could just leave them. So then what I can do is I can take all these sort of cubes here, all the way down to 20, which is where we started, and I can right click and say group objects. So now all those behave as one object. So if I grab and move, you can see the whole thing moves, and I can get it situated. And then if I have multiple windows that I want to put levelers in, then obviously I can command drag, you know, and create more. But I'm going to undo that. So that's it. That's the levelers. So next we're going to look at the figures. And to do that, we're actually going to step outside of our set here. And this is, if you've ever been on a soundstage, this is actually kind of how it feels. You got a set, and it's on this big blank floor. You're in a warehouse or wherever your soundstage was built. So we're going to drop a figure in here really quick. So I'm going to click this and hold, get a figure to pop up. There he is. And we're going to raise him up to the ground plane and move him over here so we can work with him. I'm going to hit R for rotation, turn him towards us. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so you need to make your figure editable. And the way there's a couple ways you can do that. You can hit this button here, which says make editable, or you can see the shortcut is C. So I'm just going to hit the C key. Now he's editable. And you'll see that the figure changed from being a single object to being all its individual parts as well. So I can select each individual part, or I can come in here and I can just click, and then I can rotate. So I can bring his arm down like that. I'll click over here and bring his arm down. Actually, I want to get out of this global coordinate system into the individual coordinate system. You can see now he's doing that old Tim Conway bit, or it goes, never mind. Most of you don't understand that. It only hurts when I do this, Doc. Well, then don't do that. And then I can grab his forearm, I can bend it up. Same thing here. I can rotate on a different axis. For instance, let's say I wanted this leg to sort of face out like that. So you basically have control over the entire body. You know, now I can bring his thigh. You can dance if you want to do that. I can bang the head. So this is like the basics for how you're going to animate. Now, I'll cover just a little bit of theory here. Normally, like if you are working in Poser, I work in Poser a lot, but I didn't want to cover it in these tutorials just because it's not free. And most of you already have this. Poser's, I can't remember how much it is normally. I think it's $250, maybe $300. But like almost every Christmas, they put it on sale for like $50, which is when I got mine years ago. And Poser will give you a more detailed character, but then you have to create a bone system for it. And the way that works, it's called rigging. We call it character rigging. One of the really great things about 3D Max was that it came with figures that were already sort of rigged, or they already had bones in them. Maya, for the longest time, didn't. I still don't know if they do, but it's great that Cinema 4D already has a figure that is essentially rigged. In other words, I can control this mesh or this geometry just by clicking the object and posing it without having to go in and actually rig the character. And these balls here on the joints, you can grab them and rotate them all day long. They don't do anything. You have to actually bend the piece. So like to bend him over, you gotta go like that. If you want to have him sit in a chair, you're gonna have to bring that one up and come down here, grab that leg and bend it down, bend this out. I'm gonna rotate around so you can see what I'm doing. Again, same thing here. Rotate up, rotate down. And then I can have him sit. Whoa, don't want that. Grab the figure as a whole and have him, and you can put a block under him like this. And let me go find that. One of the things you'll notice is whenever I create an object, it always seems to go to that one spot. That is absolute center in the 3D world that we're working in. And every time you create an object, it always goes there. And one of the things I missed, there used to be, I can't remember if it was in Max or Maya, where you could like to create a light, you could actually just click here and drag, and it would as long as you were in perspective mode, it would grab that coordinate in space and put a light like right there. So you didn't have to put a light, go find it at absolute center, and then bring it to where you wanted it. And I'm yet to find out if Cinema 4D does that yet. But yeah, so now we've got our figure sitting on a block. those are the basics. And then well, we might as well get right into materials. So here is my material list. To create a material, you click Create, New Material. Here it is. You can see it says MAT. You can go to Basic and name it. And I'm going to name it Test. So let me cover some of the properties that are in here. Obviously color, and you have these different tabs that you can edit here, but you've got luminance, reflectance, fog. Like if I wanted to, that's how I created my fog material. I would select fog, and then environment as well. Transparency. In fact, I think fog might actually be a default. I think you can actually go in and create a shader and just go to, I think that's what I did. You can just make it be fog, and it does everything for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So if you're going to make some fog, I would suggest you use that. But in this case, you can see there's a little bit of a specular highlight here. And specular, when we talk about diffusion, is a very matted, very non-shiny, non-reflective type surface. And then you have what's called specular highlights. And specular, your specular is what creates, like for instance, in this material here, that's a specular highlight. And then I have controls in here that allow me to determine just how shiny this material is. And it's going to take me too long to explain, and I don't want this to be a tutorial on Cinema 4D. I just want to be working with storyboards. So search for materials, how to create in Cinema 4D tutorials on specularity, and diffusion, transparency, all that stuff. And you'll find some really great tutorials out there. But if I were to go through these materials, you'll see that for the shirt material, there's no specularity to it at all. It's just a diffusion. I did that on purpose so that it wouldn't reflect light. The floor, same thing, almost like a, what do you call it? A linoleum kind of thing. Very matted, like a gray linoleum, but I wanted it to be carpet, like a mauve carpet kind of thing. With the drywall, I just didn't want to have to deal with a bunch of specularity and light reflections, so I made this completely matted. But obviously, if it were like a satin paint, you would have a little bit of a specular highlight on it. If it were gloss or semi-gloss, it would be even more. But to get the effect proper on these walls, what you'd have to do is go in and put what's called a bump map or a texture map on the material to create a bump. So and then you would be able to pick up all those highlights that you're getting from the lights. Here with the skin material, I made this like a little waxy, like skin normally is. And again, just go out and search for Cinema 4D tutorials on materials. But while I'm here, I'm going to show you how to apply materials. So I'm going to grab this chest. Actually, I'm going to grab this whole upper body. And I'm just going to grab my material, drag it, boom. So now it turned his, including his head, whole upper body red. So I want the hands. I want to put some skin on there. And I'm going to put some skin on there. And some skin on the head. There. And we could leave these shiny gray pants in here. If it's, we're making Michael Jackson, we want parachute pants. Or I can go in and select the lower body, left thigh, and hold down shift and right thigh, and then add some jeans. Boom. And now he's got high-waisted stupid pants. He's got skin on his hands, skin on his head, and we have our figure. You can basically, it's like The Sims. You can make these guys look any way you want. And then when you're done, like if you have Poser, what you can do is after you get everything just sort of worked out, because these guys are low poly, which means they don't take long to render, which means the polygons used to create them are not very high. And the more polygons you have, the more processor resources you need. So these guys are low poly, so you can do very quick renders, very quick previs. And then if you want to put male and female characters that look more like you want them to look, you can go into Poser and create those and then drop them in and replace your figures.